People are still very, very upset about Dany's turn to the dark side, but Amelia herself is now defending why Dany turned all cray-cray, and I think the explanation does make sense. Sorta. So Amelia Clarke, of course, has been doing interviews because she's promoting her new movie, and in doing the interviews, she, of course, was asked questions about Dany in the final season, and specifically, Dany going crazy and burning them all because the apple does not fall far from the tree. So, Amelia explained why Dany did what she did, saying, "If you really look at her, the fact that she's been on the run her whole life, she's been abused her whole life, she's been dealing with the weight of responsibility of carrying her family's legacy for her whole life. When it comes down to this thing of people start to betray her, people start to leave her, people start to devalue what it is she's made, she's killed people all the way up until this point, and now someone's gonna turn around and say, maybe no. I did this because it was all or nothing. I went all in. And now you're telling me that I can't? So it becomes its own addiction. You're at the bar, and you're holding the fucking drink in your hand, and you don't want to fucking drink it, but you can't help it, because you're so damaged, and you're so hurt, and you're so vulnerable that there's nothing left to do. Everybody has left you." That's my pitch. And I know I get in a lot of trouble every time I say this, but Dany definitely did have tendencies to kill and my way or the highway, and we applauded it before because it was bad people and, oh, they deserved it. But if you really think about it, a lot of things Dany did before even getting into Westeros was really, really fucked up. And she enjoyed watching people burn alive. Like, straight on, enjoyed it. Like her dad. Though speaking of her dad, Amelia actually doesn't think the reason why she went cray-cray was anything to do with genetics or being like father, like daughter. So on that, she explained, "She was an orphan, and she was raised by a brother who was clearly fucking her, literally, and then was sold like a slave to a huge warrior, and wanted kids and then realized that she'd birthed dragons instead, and she would never have them, and tried to fall in love and realized that would never work, and became this vessel for leadership, for power. And she spent her life trying desperately, as we all do, to not be her parents, to be something different. I think the result of what it made her do was nothing to do with her parents, nothing to do with the Mad King, and everything to do with her going, I have to prove that I'm enough. I have to prove that everything I've sacrificed up to this point is enough." And the statement's kind of interesting because D&D years ago said that Dany would never be the Mad King, she's nothing like her father, and then we saw her burn them all and thought, no, that's definitely the Mad King 2.0, or Mad Queen 2.0, 1.0? I don't know. But D&D claimed that no, this wasn't because of genetics, and so does Amelia. So at this point, do we believe it, or do we just take our own interpretation that, yeah, she had a little bit too much of the crazy dad in her? Though, I guess you can do insane things without having insane parents, so it could go either way. Interestingly, Amelia also talked about Jon entering the throne room when she was in it, and what she was trying to do in that scene. So for that, she explained, "On my last scene, I wanted to bring her back to season 1. Like, there's nothing then left to do, but to be entirely hopeful and optimistic and ultimately deluded." I don't know if I saw her season 1 self in that. Her season 1 self was definitely a lot different from the final season, so I actually don't agree with that statement, but I'm wondering if you do. Do you agree with that statement? Do you agree or disagree that it had nothing to do with her father, her burning King's Landing, that was all on her? And do you think Dany turning to the dark side makes more sense based on what she said in this interview? So like, subscribe, and really let me know in the comment section down below, because this is like a hotbed of arguments and death threats.